picture this for a second, just within, like at a 10,000 feet, cruising, enjoying life, like this, but then something suddenly happened that's about to turn the relaxation. You can see, you will know who this is. He is the hero of today's real life story. This is not AI generated, and you will soon know more about him. He is by name Darren Harrison, and inside what you are seeing here is 10,000 feet above the ground, cruising on Atlantic Ocean. And just few minutes as this was going on, this pilot will soon become unconscious suddenly, like, oh, I was having some feel of probably headache and things like that, according to an interview that Darren granted with his wife as well. So he said then the pilot just went, they were asking, okay, if peradventure this, what should we do? They couldn't get any update. If I say they, because inside this plane there were 2 passengers, and this is the next person you would think is like like first officer, maybe monitoring the flight. No, he's sitting there because he's friend to the pilot. He was sitting there as a friend, and this is Darren Harrison at the back. Since this plane is Cessna 208 and Caravan, and could take in multiple passengers, I think up to 5 or so. So you can see that's why, since it's only 3 of them, you can turn the seat, and it was just relaxing, and he took this picture, which would have actually been his last picture. Had it been, he did not rise to the challenge he's just about to face at 10,000 feet above the surface. So in this video, I'm going to cover this story where many could see this as just miracle, above the ocean in Florida, how he was able to end up landing. This is him landing the plane, everything intact, no crash, no nothing. How was he? And that was his first time of handling a flight. He has not gone for any flight training. He has not gone through. How was it? And he saved a lot. The pilot friend, and even the wife at that point in time was said to be 7 months pregnant of their first child. So everything was on the line at that 10,000 feet that this went down, that he rose to the challenge, to the occasion. And this is the analysis on how the hero Darren Harrison saved the day by landing a plane from 10,000 feet when he was a novice. He has never flied a plane before. So let's talk more. I will be covering details of the crash summary and key facts for us to know and learn from this story, and the ending as well. What really happened to this pilot, and any other one you want to know, let me know in the comments. So let's get on. But before that, I want to welcome you. If you are coming to this channel for the first time, welcome to Foskaay Aviation. I'm Solomon Foskaay. On this channel, I bring you simplified analysis, news up to date about aviation, especially plane crashes and things like that. Sometimes I do even live stream daily at times to bring you 24 hours to 72 hours update on latest plane crashes across the world. So if all that interests you, but as a disclaimer, I'm not a pilot or pro aviator. I'm just an aviation enthusiast and fan, just like many of you watching. So if that interests you, please like, subscribe, tap notification bell for more of my video. Now let's head on to this story. I'll be coming back to this picture. Keep these 4 pictures into your mind as we go on to explore the story of the Cessna 208 flight that the pilot went on incapacitated at 10,000 feet. So let's cover, I love to analyze this for you guys. So when did this happen? This actually happened on May 10th 2022 around 12:30 local time. Was in like cruise altitude like 10,000 feet. So that's cruising altitude for planes like this. So unlike most more airlines that can go like 30 something cruising altitude and things. So type is Cessna 208 Caravan. Actually is a single engine. So you will also see out there some said Cessna 208B Caravan. So the B is just a bit of an extension of this, but it's the same make, but it has more extension and some enhancement like that with the reg. And the occupant was actually 3 occupants. One of them is the pilot, who eventually become unresponsive mid-flight, and the pilot friend, which is the passenger, and then Darren Harrison, which I showed the 3 of them to you here. So like I've showed earlier, this is the passenger one, and the friend sitting like a first officer, but it wasn't actually a pilot. Then we have 3, which this is Darren's leg, you can see, but this is him as his picture as well. So let's go back. Then at that time, like I told you, the wife was 7 months pregnant with their first child, which who happened to be a baby girl. So congrats to them, and especially to the wife for not going through. You can imagine at that interview on today, you can see link below as well. I found those link. The wife, Brittany, was saying it that just some months or maybe a year like that, like a cousin or so also got a news like that from the husband or so that died when she was 6 months. So when she got a call from maybe security or the airport, things like that, he was a bit panicking that had something happened to the husband on his way for the flight. So she wished this never happened again in the family, and congrats to them that she never had to experience such pain and heartbreaking. So she was pregnant at that time. And let's learn about the flight, which I have this for you, will also use. And first is the flight was a fishing trip return from Bahamas Marsh Harbor Airport to Fort Pierce International Airport. So that was actually where it ought to head, but ended up being diverted and landing in Palm Beach International Airport, still also in Florida. So we will look at this. You can see it. This is the Bahamas, this harbor where Marsh Harbor, where they move from, and this is where the flight ought to go and land, and then this is where it's actually diverted. So I tried to bring this for you, but I will come back to probably zoom in some of the airport for you. But before that, let's see what happened. Actually, the pilot says, "I'm not feeling good," according to the today's interview I watched, where Darren was Harrison was giving the account. I said why they were still trying to now ask the pilot, okay, in case anything goes wrong, what should they do? Then they didn't get a response, and that's when he discovered that the pilot has slumped over. He didn't slump to, according to him, he just remained tight seated to his seat. He didn't slump over the yoke. So, and then at about 10,000 feet, and the plane then was said to be on autopilot. So the next thing, the plane dives nose down towards ocean from about 10,000 feet as an erratic crash, down to about 6,000 feet with air speed, when it's just like falling. Yeah, so rose from about 180 mph to about 380 miles per hour due to the nosediving. It's just like on a free nosedive, free fall. So according to some flight recording on it. So now what Darren did next is what actually saved the day. Darren then jumped instantly from the back seat and grabbed the yoke, gently pull to level the plane, because he said as he jumped from the back, he knew add pull equals to stall. So that's why learning things like this could help anyone at the point in time, because when you look at the plane, the location he was sitting at the back. This is him just relaxing himself at the back here. So he had to quickly jump to the front here. The pilot, according to his account, remains seated like this. You can see him that he's sitting relaxed to the back, so he remains seated but unresponsive. So he had to stretch his hand to grab the yoke, you understand, from him, and then try to stabilize the plane, because at that point in time they are already flowing downward. So that was how he was able to grab the plane and try to stabilize it even before calling the ATC. So eventually he was able to try to reach out to, while also talking to the pilot. Remember, there's another person sitting like first officer, but it's not first officer, so it's not like experienced in flying. So they were able to reach out to ATC. I think they call him Captain Robert Morgan, which is also like a captain and like flight instructor on break. So, and good for them was there. So he was able to guide him through phone, because the ATC he connected to was like on the wrong one, because later he was able to connect on phone call, which gave him access to connect to, because he wasn't connected to the right ATC and things like that. So, and it wasn't to put in those things on that screen would have distracted him from flying. So at that point in time, the number one thing is stabilizing the aircraft. That was what he did, trying to stabilize the aircraft, and eventually had a safe landing on runway 10L after the guidance. So let's now look at that here, for those that also have interest in exploring this. So you can see it already on the map here. This where they took from. Let's try to zoom in here and see, probably if we can get on into the airport. So you can see it, that this the airport here, and that's where they took off from the Bahamas. So usually they ought to go and land here, which is, you can see, is beside the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. That's the also is called, also referred to as Treasure Coast International Airport, known as the Fort Pierce as well airport. So you can see it here is at the coast, and this was coming from the, that's like the yellow line too. So, and they were actually to land here, but eventually they landed in the Palm Beach Airport, which is also, you can see it here. So now they ought to land. I think it eventually landed 10L. Hopefully we can see this in the video. 10, this, I think this 14. Hope you can spot it. Let me know. I think this said something like 20, 32, probably. So it was, I couldn't just easily spot that now. So if you do, let me know. This 14 actually. So it was able to land in this particular airport on the 10L. This 28 or so. So you can see a lot of things here. So it was able to land in the airport. So that's a very good news and being celebrated as an hero. If you are in this type of situation, do you think you will have the calmness to take control of this type of situation? Because that was major thing that really helped him to, you can see the flight when he got around here, that was when the pilot got issues, and then he had to turn like a 180-degree turn and eventually come over here to land the plane. So after that, it was, the outcome is the three of them were saved. The pilot later, once they land, got hospitalized, and according to the interview, I think maybe after some time went through serious surgery, and this was the point at which the plane landed. So you see it, that emergency and all those things are already, I believe it's him and the other pilot, and they are trying to, the pilot friend, they are trying to rescue the pilot. Ambulance and all those things are already waiting, and this was the full aircraft and everything was intact. Nothing, damage, no nothing. The 10,000 feet crash that would have been so serious was, stabilized thanks to this hero. And it didn't just, save the pilot, because the pilot eventually recovered and they, reunited. Even with the family, was said to even fly the family after that. So fly him, also save the pilot friends, and then also saved the wife. Can imagine the heartbreak she would have gone through nursing their first child, even after a family had the same experience just like a year ago or something, and then had to nurse as a first child and tell the child how the dad died during 7 months of pregnancy and things like that. So there are a lot of things in these 4 pictures I was able to piece together that, Darren Harrison being able to stay calm and take control of the situation really helped to save a lot of life, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of family and things. So if you are in such situation, do you think you would have been able to rise up and, save yourself, save the pilot friends, save your wife, even from heartbreak? And probably, you can't say what would have happened to this woman hearing that at 7 months. A lot of people might have ended up taking their own life or getting, a lot of things can just go downhill from there. So it's good ending story. What would they have done? Put in the comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to do good to humanity and nature with your knowledge, or wherever you do, wherever you are, to make the world and universe a better place. Don't forget, there's also a Miracle in Congo plane video I want you to as well watch, where the whole plane got burnt, yet there were all these survivors. It's Miracle in Congo plane. You want to watch it as well. So thanks so much. I'll put link of it as well below, or check my channel, subscribe, tap notification, and please tap that like and share button if you find this educative. I remain Foskaay. See you in the next one. Watch Congo flight and other plane crash updates and flight. Thank you, peace, and bye for now. Thanks for watching.